Everywhere I look in the news today, I see something related to climate change. I hear so many different facts, reasons, and descriptions of how horrible the next century will be. After hearing so many different claims, I decided to pay attention to the subject more and research. After a bit of research, the scientific consensus on climate change is that it is happening and will continue to happen whether people believe it or not. One of the major problems that climate change will bring about is the melting of the world's polar regions. Places such as Antarctica and Greenland are melting at very fast rates, and scientists know that this excess water will lead to sea level rise. Sea level rise will displace millions of people and will impact the world's economy greatly. Other problems include increasing ocean acidity and an increase in extreme weather events. Climate change is a very clear problem with enough scientific evidence to back it. The question is, why is something with such a clear consensus among the scientific community not being talked about more? The American public needs to inform themselves about the issue facing the next generation. While climate change has been a natural process in the past, global warming from human activity is not, and people need to know this. One of the men running for president denies that it's even happening, while internationally governments are researching it and trying to stop it. How can we as humans allow such misinformation? People need to look at climate change from a common sense aspect, in my opinion. Let's start from the beginning. What is climate change and what makes it happen? Climate change is simply the changing of the Earth's climate for the better or worse. The sun radiates heat towards the Earth then reflects some of this heat back into space. The heat not reflected is then trapped in the atmosphere by greenhouse gases. The more human activity that goes on, the more greenhouse gases trap heat. In biology, you learn that a species can only reproduce to such a point before they begin to die off because their ecosystem can't sustain them. Why are humans any different? Whether people want to believe it or not, we are animals too, and what we do impacts the Earth. The modern human species only left Africa over the last 100,000 years, and industrialization only happened over the last 100 years. But people claim to know that we don't affect the environment at all. At the moment, the Earth is experiencing a warm streak that can only be caused by human activity. Most of the warming has occurred since the 1970s. 20 of the warmest years on record have happened since 1981. And the 10 warmest years have all been in the last 12 years. There are over 7 billion people in the world now, and cities like Beijing get completely shut down due to smog. But people claim that global warming isn't because of humans. The next step in taking action about climate change is understanding what causes it and what will happen because of it. This is not the first time that humans have impacted the climate. The genocide of the Native Americans is thought to have drastically impacted the carbon dioxide levels in the Americas. Global carbon dioxide levels are now at a high point they haven't been at in 650,000 years. There has been a sharp increase over the past 100 years, and this is most likely due to global industrialization and the burning of fossil fuels. Agriculture is also a large contributor to climate change. Agriculture accounted for 31% of non-CO2 greenhouse gases in 2010. These greenhouse gases not only trap heat, they cause clouds to become more convective, resulting in stronger storms. Storms already seem like they're getting stronger in the Americas. These slow changes to the world will add up over the next century. The sea level will rise 1 to 4 feet by 2100, and there's nothing we can do about it. Climate change isn't going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be a slow process over the next 100 years. While the numbers don't seem like much, a few degrees or feet in global numbers will be devastating. While the effects of it are not yet noticeable to us, climate change affects all of us. Whether people want to accept it or not, it is happening, and there will be consequences because of it. I myself am not a scientist and do not know what all it will take to stop climate change. I do, however, hope to see a transition to clean energy over the next century. There will be change that we cannot stop over the next century, but that doesn't mean that we can't stop further warming. While we cannot change our past, hopefully the future will hold nothing but a brighter future as humans begin to understand the impact we've made on the world.